Hey guys, I want to share something with you that I think is valuable. And it's because I'm learning a lot as I'm going through it. And it's when we start living from deeper layers of our heart, we have to confront like that layer's sense of unworthiness and insecurity. It's like each new layer of the heart that you enter into with your awareness and consciousness and start to live from, it's like that layer has to learn that it's safe to express authentically, that it's safe to share, that it's safe to get rejected and to be disliked and to be polarizing, because a lot of times our authenticity is a bit polarizing, right? And I just say this because I go through this kind of process over and over again, where I'll be in a layer of my heart and it'll be sort of scary and I'll feel some insecurity and some unworthiness, and I'll keep giving my gifts through it, and I'll feel the feelings of, oh, that was scary, that was difficult. I'll feel the feelings of shame. Oh, I can't believe I just revealed so much about myself. Like that's kind of a common thought when we're in that place. I'll feel the uncomfortability that arises often when we're vulnerable, when we're kind of at that layer of our heart's like comfort zone, when we're going beyond it. I'll feel, that fear. And then all of a sudden I start to feel really safe in that layer of my heart. All of those energies transform, and I feel like I could say anything to anyone. I feel like I could come on here and do anything and it wouldn't matter, because that layer of my heart is now connected to its power, or its sense of worthiness, its sense of self-love and acceptance. It's not afraid of being rejected anymore. It's not afraid of being big or authentic, or it's not afraid of being disliked. And it feels so free, and it feels so freaking expansive. I'm sure you've had this experience, perhaps. And you're like, you could just be yourself, and your heart's wide open, and it's amazing. And then, out of nowhere, usually if you go on like some big retreat, or if you work with a healer, or you just have some experience, or, this is just kind of how the awakening process moves in general. But it's just out of nowhere, you find yourself living from a new depth, in a new layer of your heart. And all of a sudden, all those feelings come back. And they come back, albeit in a different texture. And they have a different kind of flavor to them, because you're in a deeper dimension of your heart. And you have more awareness than you did the layer before, when the insecurity and the unworthiness and the self-doubt was arising in the, more outer layers. But even still, when you go deeper into your heart, you have to confront the unworthiness that's in your depths, that's at that new depth. And sometimes it's like you have more awareness, but the unworthiness can feel even more strong and more powerful, because you're getting to the core of the wound. And I had that, and I share this because I'm going through this experience. I just had this huge experience. I've been having just these big experiences with my heart, retreats. I'm in some really powerful holy containers and some really powerful sanghas. And I can feel my consciousness just entering extremely deep layers of my heart that have not been touched by my awareness yet. And I'm noticing that, yes, I'm living from a deeper depth than I ever have been before, and it's incredible, and I'm so much more sensitive, and I am so much more telepathic and connected to the collective, and I can almost always tell what everyone's sort of thinking and how everyone's kind of vibing and what's going on within them. I'm not even trying to do it. They're just, when you go into these deeper dimensions of your heart, you become so hyper connected to everything that you're just downloaded. There's so much more information available to you. I really even, it's usually just like kind of useful information that flows in. Anyways, that's kind of not what I'm talking about too much right now. But it's like, yeah, you just get so much more open, and there's this beauty to it. And you're just living from this deeper dimension of life where there's less thinking, and it's just more of a feeling journey and more of an intuitive journey and more of just you're moving from your knowings and your wisdom and your heart's intelligence rather than your trauma, usually. Or you can tell right away when you're moving from trauma, or a lot quicker, once you're really getting rooted in the deeper dimensions of your being, because things will feel off really quick. There will be energetic dissonance almost immediately when you're moving from a place that's other than the truth of who you are. And so these are all beautiful things. But one thing I'm recognizing is you're hitting into, like, I'm hitting into deep core wounding of unworthiness in my heart. Like, for example, today, just to give a real life example and what inspired this video, I posted a video earlier today, and I was just talking about how I was in bliss and I was in this deep, restful peace. And it was almost even hard to make the video because I was feeling so much grace flowing in. And after I posted it, I started to have all these deep feelings in my heart center come up of unworthiness. Like, who are you to talk about peace and how blessed you feel and how much bliss and how much you're like in this heaven realm? Because I was really in this heavenly realm when I made this video. I could feel the ground waking up beneath me, like Mother Earth and her grace waking up beneath me. And I could feel like angels, like angelic grace, like soothing angelic grace descending down into me through my crown. And there was this part of me that was feeling so unworthy and so insecure and so self-doubting after I posted that video. Someone's alarm is going off in a doo-doo. Giving me a little extra light here. And I just know it's so distracting. And there was this kind of tug of war in me. I knew it was the truth to leave the video up. Like, I could feel in my true heart, in the depth of my wisdom, that no, it's the truth to leave it up. It's okay if people, whatever the fears were from my unworthiness wound, something was saying that's okay. It's okay, whatever happens. And in the past, and it's so weird because in the past, once you really heal an outer layer of your heart, like when you're in a more, you could say, shallow layer of your heart, you feel like you could post anything. But when you go into these deeper layers, you kind of have to go through this kind of tug of war again, where it's going to feel like really raw and vulnerable just to even do something like post a video, which maybe you've done hundreds of times like I have, or something like that. You're going to have to kind of go through the process again of holding space for the parts of you that might feel shame or scared or insecure when you're sharing your gifts, when you're being vulnerable. And you might even, like I did today, you might even listen to those parts, and you might even take the video down or delete whatever you created. Because those parts get so scared and insecure, and they just don't, they're like, they're just so scared of rejection, you know? But this is a learning process, and I learned from it today, and I realized after I deleted the video that my heart felt even worse. That it was just like, oh no, like what was really being called for was me to just leave it up and feel the feelings of whatever was there deep. It's like this core wound of unworthiness that I've been hitting into, you know? And yeah, that was just a lesson today. I felt that as I deleted it, I was like, oh, that wasn't the truth. The truth was to leave it up and to let my heart burn and to let those feelings of unworthiness burn in my presence of love. But sometimes, and I'm also making this video to tell you it's okay if you have entered into a new dimension of your heart where there's a lot of unworthiness and fear and you're extra sensitive, and you go to share something and then all of a sudden you take it down, or maybe it's some different situation for you. where you had the courage, but then you got scared and you felt all this shame and then you backed out, you know? It's like, that's okay. We're learning here. We're at our that's a sign that you're at your growth edge for the layer of your heart that you're in, right? So today was like a growing edge for me. I got to learn about this dimension of my heart. I got to learn about, okay, what's the true voice and what's the voice of just trauma that's scared. And actually, because I took it down, I got to make this video for you guys. I got to bring this teaching through, right? And it's real because it's in my body. It's something that happened today. So it actually all works out perfect. No matter what you do, you can learn from anything. But yeah, I'm just learning that, okay, now this layer needs to learn that all is well, that rejection is cool, that it doesn't matter, you know, what outcome or what kind of results come from our sharing, you know? And it gets to get just as free as every other layer that I've met in my heart thus far. So I've got so many layers in my heart that are so fucking free and just like, they don't give a fuck, you know, but they're that free because I took the time to feel through and process and digest and metabolize the fear that was once there, the terror, the shame, the unworthiness that once resided in those layers has been alchemized because I've done so many things that have been so vulnerable and so raw and so scary to do, and held space for those feelings and just did those things anyways and went forward. And it's like this burning fire, this burning purification fire that we go through when we're vulnerable and it's scary and all kinds of feelings come up that are rooted in doubt and unworthiness. And so, yeah, that's what happened to me today. That part, you know, was like, who are we to talk about bliss and heaven realms and angels and all this stuff? And I felt all this stuff come up in my heart, and my heart was hurting. And that's another thing, your heart might be in pain. And I kind of let my clever ego mind trick me, and it was like, it's because you weren't meant to post that. But deep down I could hear the whole time like, no, that's not the truth. The truth is you were definitely meant to post that. I mean, there was so much grace in it. And I was all, no, I'm going to believe my ego mind. I'm going to take it down. It's too scary. It's too vulnerable. And sometimes it is too vulnerable, and that's okay. We take it down. But right after I took it down, I felt like a deadening in my system. Like, oh, that wasn't the truth. But this is what you do. You laugh, because we're here to learn. We're not here to do this part. We're just here to learn. And this stuff is so impersonal. We all go through it. We're all going through our own thing. We're all at our own growth edge in our own way, you know? It's lightness. Be light with yourself. Be gentle. And turn your mistakes into things that aren't the truth. Turn them into something. It's just like you just roll with it. Like you roll with it into the next thing. And you know, and it becomes wisdom immediately, you know, and that you can share. Any mistake you make just leads to wisdom. It's like, so you can't make a mistake. There's no mistakes. It's actually beautiful how free this reality is. It's all exactly amazing. No matter what's happening, because it's all leading to your growth and your evolution and your own expansion. So yeah, I wanted to share that. The main point is, hey, it might be a little bit shocking, like, oh, I was so free in my heart, I was feeling so expansive, and I just was like, you know, able to be so authentic, and now all of a sudden I'm in this deeper dimension of myself, and I'm feeling scared again, and I'm feeling like I can't be as authentic, and I'm feeling like extra vulnerable and sensitive. This is part of the process. We're going into deeper and deeper and deeper layers and bringing consciousness to those layers. And once that layer is filled with consciousness, you're going to be free there too. And that's so beautiful, because now you're free at an even deeper layer of yourself. And that's, what a gift, you know, what a beautiful gift to keep liberating yourself in deeper and deeper dimensions within you. And it's infinite. It's fucking infinite. And that's the prize. That's the reward of this experience. It's just infinite growth, infinite evolution. Wow, what a fucking miracle to be here, you know? All right. I love you guys so much. Thanks for witnessing me. I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.